Okay, for the circuit below, what is the sequence of output values on consecutive clock pulses starting from Q2, Q1, Q0 equals 0, 0, 0 until reaching 0, 0, 0 again? So I have Q2, Q1, Q0, or 0, 0, 0 is how we're starting. And notice what we have as our input into our T flip-flop. Now what does a T flip-flop do? Well, what a T flip-flop does is if the input, if T is 1, it toggles, and if T is 0, it remains the same. Okay, so if we look at flip-flop 0 here, we see it's got the input into the clock and an input into 1 and 1 into the T. And so that all that means is it is just going to toggle every time. So every time we have a clock pulse, it'll toggle. Okay, now let's look at flip-flop 1 here. It also has the input into the clock, and so it will change as the clock changes. So I'm changing. This is on the positive edge of the clock that I've written these, and it also looks like it is toggling. Yeah, so it's also just going to toggle. But if we look at our last flip-flop, its clock is not the clock. Its clock is the output from flip-flop 1. And so flip-flop 1, so it will only do its thing on the positive edge of the clock. So on the positive edge of the clock, meaning that when the clock goes from 0 to 1. So when we start, Q1 is 0. So when we get to the first positive edge of the clock, this flip-flop 2 is not getting that it's the positive edge of the clock. It has the signal of 0 from this flip-flop here, and so it does not toggle. Instead, it just remains 0. It remains the same. Okay, but then what's going to happen is then Q1 becomes 1, and when that happens, then flip-flop 2 will toggle, and it will become 1. Now, on the next cycle, what's going to happen is this 1 is going to turn to 0, and so then it'll have a 0 here, and that means it's going to remain the same. But then you'll get a 1 as the output for flip-flop 1, and then you'll get a toggle, and then you get 0, 0, 0. So those are the output values on consecutive clock pulses. You get Q2, Q1, Q0. You get 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, and then 0, 0, 0 would be your consecutive outputs. So, did y'all see how that one worked? And that was another example of paying attention to not just the what, but the when as well.